잡초도 사이 활짝 피는 beauty flower. Palta Nojo, I'm a legend Thanos. Hey guys, what's up? I've played these games before! Is the culture detective here, investigating your favorite TV shows, and today I'm finally doing a review on Squid Game Season 2, or in Korean it's 오징어 Game. Yeah. This is a TV show written and mostly directed by Dong-Hyuk, and it is one of the most popular TV shows of all times. Flashback to 2021. It's the pandemic, it's quarantine, everyone's tired and sad and bored, and then suddenly this TV show came out of nowhere and it blew up. This is exactly what everyone needed. It's fast paced, it's entertaining as hell, it's simple, easy to understand, the main character is likable, the villain is hateable, and it became one of the most successful TV shows of the recent years. So obviously, a lot of people are waiting for a season 2, but little do Westerners know that usually K-dramas don't have season 2s. In fact, usually K-dramas are one season long and has like 40 episodes, and they air the whole thing and then call it a day, or call it a year, I guess. But it's Netflix, and you know what they do. They make sequels. So of course Squid Game got a sequel. But to be fair, when the frontman took off his mask at the end of season 1, and it's revealed to be Byun-Hun, of course they're gonna do a season 2. They're not gonna get this famous, super famous actor to do a 1 second cameo and then not follow up with that. Of course they're gonna get him back for season 2. So it's not really Netflix's idea either. Hwang Dong-hyuk himself probably also already planned a season 2. Who knows? But anyways, Squid Game is back and everyone's watching it and everyone's talking about it. Back in December, I went to a family trip to Seattle, and my brother and cousins, they were binge watching Squid Game every single night, and I decided to not join them because I don't want to be distracted by them. When I watch something, I watch it. I don't just have fun and yell. So I watched it myself. I just finished watching it, and let's talk about it. So, episode 1 is fucking fantastic. Episode 1 is great and probably my favorite episode of the entire season 2. I'm not gonna lie, episode 1 is skin tight awesome. Episode 1. I do not have a lot of complaints about episode 1. Now, if you need some kind of recap, essentially the main character, Gi-Hun, played by Jung-Jae, is the sole winner of the first Squid Games. And he won billions of dollars, but now he's angry because he wants to take revenge. He wants to kill the frontman and end the games once and for all. At the same time, we also have a policeman character who infiltrated the Squid Game island and got found out and got shot, and now he's back in the real world, and he's also trying to hunt down the Squid Game people and kill them all. Or at least, capture them all and bring them all to jail. Gi-Hun, Gi-Hun probably wants to kill them all. The policeman just wants to bring them to jail. But anyways, episode 1 is amazing because this is the Squid Game outside of the Squid Game. Squid Game, yes, it's about an island where everyone are in tracksuits. It's very colorful and it's very brutal and violent. But one very interesting point back in season 1 is that the real world is just as painful and ugly as the world inside Squid Game. And we sort of see that on episode 1. We see the real world, and there's still a lot of tension, a lot of violence. Gi-Hun has changed and has become this really angry, grumpy, serious person. And it just becomes this cool spy shit. Essentially, we fast forward to 2 years after the events of Squid Game Season 1, and Gi-Hun is trying to track down the recruiter, played by Gong-Yu. And it's just so fucking cool. It's like Bourne Ultimatum. It's like some Mission Impossible type shit. And I love my artsy, slow, whatever, but this is just pure entertaining fun. and I'm enjoying it. Yeah, the plot is convenient, but it's also very unpredictable. And Gong-Yu absolutely killed it. Gong-Yu has played good guys since the history of time, but I've never seen Gong-Yu play a psychopath before, and he absolutely nailed it. He is freaking fantastic. When he showed up back in season 1, he's just an NPC, but his performance in season 2 has given his character so many more layers. He goes to a park and just trolls homeless people and stomps on bread, and he's like and then he's smiling when he threatened to kill some of Song Gi-Hun's underlings, employees. He was having fun. The way he flipped the gun when he was playing Russian roulette and he like smirks. It's anyone else playing that character would look corny, but Gong-Yu doing it just works. And the ending of episode 1 just wraps up the entire episode just fantastically. So I absolutely had a blast with episode 1. Now moving on to episode 2, we have more of a transitional episode. We are introduced to a bunch of side characters that feel kind of flat, but I'm sure it'll play a more major role further down the line. But yeah, it's a transitional episode. There are some really interesting moments where Song Gi-Hun infiltrates a Halloween party and tries to meet the frontman, and that essentially leads to him getting kidnapped. And he's like, bring me back to the game. And they're like, sure. So now we enter episode 3 where the games begin. The games return. The Squid Game is back. The Squid Game ain't no game. It's really funny because before I even watched Squid Game Season 2, I've already seen so many memes on the internet about Squid Game Season 2, more so than the story itself. Like the Hawk Twa, the I'm a Legend Thanos, and all the silly edits of Jung-Jae and Byun-Hun being in that PSY video, and Twitter getting all riled up about how this actor is actually did this in the past, that actor did that in the past. I've played these games before! It's really, really noisy. There's a lot of talk around Squid Game Season 2, but I don't even know the story. I just know the memes and stuff. Okay, anyways, episode 3, we are back in the games. Song Gi-Hun is back as player 456, and we have a completely new bunch of characters. And when that happens, the writer would try to explain everyone's character and everyone's personality and cramp them all together, which is a huge no-no usually in storytelling if you randomly introduce hundreds of characters, or at least in this case like 15-ish characters all at once. It's like, oh god, now we have a buttload of exposition. But it can be done well. I think Squid Game Season 1 did it very well because you see the characters by their actions when they're outside. We see Song Gi-Hun, we see the girl, we see the glasses guy. I forgot their names, I'm sorry. We see them outside of the Squid Game, and then when they re-enter the Squid Game, you're like, oh, so they're that kind of person. We don't have that episode in Season 2. The game starts, and we're just stuck on that island completely. Now, that is not to say that the characters are poorly written. There's some good characters, but a lot of the characters in Squid Game Season 2, because we haven't stayed enough with them, they don't feel like three-dimensional real characters. They just feel like caricatures. They just feel like anime characters. Squid Game is basically a live-action anime, let's be honest here. We have the small girl, we have the sassy girl, we have the shy boy, we have the mom and son combo, we have the crazy guy, we have the crazy guy sidekick, and then we have the comic relief, and then we have the big bad evil guy, and the actual big bad evil guy. And just by saying these words, I've already pretty much summed up their entire personalities. They don't really have that much else beyond them. Now, I want to specifically point out a few characters that I really don't like in terms of writing. First of all, the MG coin guy, the crypto guy, played by Im Si-wan. Im Si-wan plays the main character in Miseng, which is a K-drama I've seen a couple years ago. He's fantastic in Miseng. And I have no idea when they announced that he's going to be in this anime, not when they announced Im Si-wan is going to be in Squid Game, I thought, oh, he's going to be like a good guy. He's not. He's kind of like an anti-hero kind of antagonist. He is an asshole who made everyone, who bankrupted everyone with his stupid crypto coin, and now everyone hates him. And he likes another girl, and he impregnated another girl, and he's still being a timid asshole about it. And I thought that was interesting that he's playing a bad guy, but he did not add anything interesting to the character. He still, nah, nah. He's still very square. He's not that interesting. The superstitious woman, number 44. Yeah, this character could be completely erased and the entire story will not make a difference. The superstitious woman can fuck off. She is annoying every time she's on screen. Every time she's like, "Oh, the gods have damned us," and the moon. It's just, it's. Is this supposed to be ominous or is it supposed to be funny? Because it's not doing either of those things. It's kind of tedious. Then the other character that I dislike is Thanos. But here's the thing: Thanos is a great character and a bad character at the same time. Because Thanos is a rapper who takes drugs, played by T.O.P. of Big Bang fame, who is also a rapper who had taken drugs, weed, which in California, everyone and their moms take weed. But in South Korea, it's a huge deal. If you take weed, you're a criminal. So I really respect T.O.P. for taking on this role. He's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'll play a rapper who takes drugs. Because fuck you guys, man. And he is a lot of fun. He's very entertaining. But whenever the show pretends that he's a villain, he's not that compelling of a villain. But whenever the show treats him with fun and treats him like an entertaining character, he works. It works because he is a fun, wacky character that just stirs shit up and makes the whole game feel even more ridiculous. So now we have a few good characters that I really like. First of all, the trans character Hyunju. Now, there's a lot of controversy with this trans character being played by a guy, even though the character is a trans woman. Why didn't they hire a trans woman to play a trans woman? Good point. But the issue is that if you hire a trans woman to play a trans woman in South Korea, that trans woman will get cancelled and cyberbullied to oblivion. It's not easy to play LGBTQ characters in South Korean media, even in the 2020s. So it takes a lot of courage for that actor to play the trans character, but her character is legitimately well written. She has been the backbone, she is kind, she's strong, and she also has depth. She has moral ambiguity. She wants the game to continue despite everyone dying, but she's like, I need to finish my transition, my operation. There's a struggle. She is well written and layered, and I like that. I also really like the sassy girl. I know she's just a caricature, but a sassy girl with a mean attitude and a nose ring. Come on. Come on. Daeho, I like him. He's the young marine guy, but he sort of doesn't do much. And I think Song Gi-Hun has become way less interesting of a character. He's just grumpy and angry most of the time, which makes sense for the story, but for the writing, it just feels kind of one-dimensional sometimes. Actually, I forgot to mention that why is the sassy girl's hair gelled? Like you would think, like did she gel her hair and make herself look good before she got taken to this island? And also, how the hell did Thanos even smuggle drugs onto the island? Aren't they like, didn't they secretly, like don't the masked men take their belongings and confiscate their belongings, especially when it's drugs? Anyways, lots of questions, don't need to ask them. Now on to the games. You have the first game, red light, green light, which is good. A lot of people died. It's intense, it's fun, and it's just the Squid Game is back. Now we have the second game, which is Sex Legs, which is not the candy game. The Tukpi, I forgot the name of the game, but this is called the Sex Legs game. Essentially, you and five other people have 6 legs because your legs are tied together. And it's actually 5 mini games within one game. You're given 5 minutes to finish 5 mini games while walk around a circle with 6 legs. And if you don't do that, then you'll die. And the mini games are there's a spinning top. There's the one where you throw a rock at a small other rock. There's a flipping thing that was a very interesting game. There is the kicking thing, and there is another thing. But there are 5 mini games. Now, writing about games is difficult. When you write a story and you have to write a character playing a game, it's tough because if you're a gamer, if you're watching this and you're a gamer, you would know this, and that is gaming is actually very repetitive. You do something and you keep doing it. You keep doing it and then you win some, you'll lose some. It's not that entertaining, actually. It's entertaining to you because you're interacting with it. But when it is inside a story and you're just an audience, it's actually not that entertaining. But Hwang Dong-Hyuk, of course, solves that problem with montages. But even so, when you have so many characters, they play these games, they die, and then some other important, nice characters play this game, they miraculously survive. Some mean characters, they survive too. And then we have the main characters, and they have to play all these games again. It does get a little bit repetitive. And I can tell that Hwang Dong-Hyuk had tried to pull every trick up his sleeve. Slow-mo, filming at a different angle, using a different soundtrack, and introducing different challenging elements to make each mini game feel fresh, but it is repetitive. And another thing is that the stakes are actually lower. If you're able to finish the 5 mini games on time, then you'll survive. If you don't, you'll die. And it's nowhere near as brutal as like Tug of War, where 50% of everyone just dies, or Kanbu, where 50% of everyone also dies. Now, one interesting element that Hwang Dong-Hyuk introduces in Squid Game Season 2 is X and O. After every single game, everyone can vote either leave or remain in the game. To remain, O. To leave, X. And it became sort of like this allegory for political divide, especially given that the colors of the lights are red and blue. It's like Democrats and Republicans, or I guess in South Korea, it also means, two opposing political parties. The issue is that it's not that deep or insightful of an allegory. Yes, it's political, but on the antagonist side, every antagonist is an O and every protagonist is an X. So immediately Hwang Dong-Hyuk has already made a stance, which is fine. Sometimes when you write stories, you have a clear political stance, and that's great. But in here, I feel like the ultimate big bad villain on the O side is the stand-in for evil, money-loving politician, which I hate. But I just wish to see more struggle. Like, what does this political divide entail? How will these people interact? How will these people maybe change their minds, and how does it change the entire feel of the place, if you know what I mean? And Hwang Dong-Hyuk did explore these elements, but just not deep enough, in my opinion. Third game, and it's called Mingle. Everyone stands on a spinning platform. The platform suddenly stops, the song ends, and you have to grab whoever are around you and form groups of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. I don't know. Depends on the PSA. If the speaker says 5, you have to grab 5 people and run into a room. And if you don't do that, you'll die. Very interesting game and very intense, and I enjoyed it very much. Again, some of the side characters die, and I felt nothing because I haven't spent enough time with them to really sympathize with them. But then now we arrive at the finale, which is just full-fledged action thriller. Tons of explosions and gunshots and screaming and bleeding, and a lot of characters die. And including characters that I'm actually rooting for. So now the deaths are beginning to hit, and I like that. I also enjoy just how crazy and wacky and unpredictable the last episode is. A lot of people may say, oh, it's just bad writing because it's suddenly conveniently so violent and chaotic. And yeah, it is not the most nuanced writing ever, but when I go into Squid Game, I'm not expecting nuance. I'm expecting crazy, violent bloodshed and anger towards capitalism. And you know what? I'm getting it in the last episode. It's not the best writing ever, but I do like how unpredictable it is. When I watch a scene, I have no idea what happens next. But yeah, all throughout these episodes, we have the policeman still trying to hunt down the island on a boat. And those scenes just fall flat. And because we keep seeing those scenes, whenever we see those scenes, it halts the momentum of the story. So Squid Game Season 1, way more tight pace. Squid Game Season 2 it just felt more loose. So yeah, not really the best writing, but am I entertained? Hell yes, I am very entertained. So for that, I think Squid Game Season 2 is still a fun time. I'm not looking to learn some intelligent, deep thing in this story. Obviously, I do think that if Hwang Dong-Hyuk fleshes out some of the characters, better explore the politics of the story and also expand the world and not just show more characters, but also expand the game. How did the game happen? Are there politicians outside of the game involved? Are there, I don't know, expand the world. If Hwang Dong-Hyuk does these things, maybe I would have loved it way more. But for now, I think it's a fun time and there's no fault in that. I'm giving Squid Game Season 2 a strong 6 to a light 7 out of 10. So have you watched Squid Game Season 2? Comments below, let me know, subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.